because the way that he was describing it is, he said it's kind of like doing a tattoo. Well, that took me several
Mhm.
sessions. So with this type of service that you have, and it's kind of like a tattoo, I mean, is that how it
Mhm.
reacts, and how do people self-care once it's done? Like when they walk
Yeah,
out your
so
door.
yeah, it is like a tattoo. It's permanent makeup. I
Mhm.
I have a machine, and um the first time, so I always tell the clients, because your brows it's going to go through phases. The first time that you see your brows, it's going to look very bold and very dark, and some people are like, oh, this is not what I wanted.
Mhm.
Don't worry, that's not what it's going to look like. Your skin is irritated, it's a little tender, because it is essentially on your face, on your forehead. You have a lot of nerves on your face. However, basically, once the procedure is done, and I put on numbing cream so
Mhm.
clients don't have to deal with much discomfort. And for the most part, people will say they don't feel it too much. I've had one client that was not comfortable whatsoever. But that also depends on how well they take like Novocaine. So if
Mhm.
Novocaine doesn't work, the numbing medicine basically won't work either. So there's really nothing I can do about that. Um, However, once it's done, it'll be bold, it'll be dark. Then it'll start to scab.
Yeah.
Once the scab starts falling off, I always say do not pick the scab, because even with like a tattoo, you pick the scab, the ink is going to come off with it. So
Yep.
you're going to want to let it scab and then flake off. You're going to want to clean it about 2 times a day. You're going to want to keep it dry, keep it out of the sun, don't go swimming. Um, for about 2 weeks, no tanning for 2 weeks, no like retinol. You're not going to want to put any retinol or anything. No Botox for about 3 to 4 weeks after you get done with the brows. Um, and then once the scab goes away, it's going to look like you didn't even get your brows done. The
That's
color will
amazing.
fade. And then what happens is the color will come back, and it'll be lighter than the first application of it.
Mhm.
And then about 4 to 6 weeks after the first procedure, you're going to want to come back and get what we call a touch up.
Mhm.
And then we just go ahead and just color in the brow one more time. And it's basically like the first procedure. We color it in. You're going to go through the healing again, and then you're going to see what your natural, like what the brow is going to look like. It's going to look very natural. The color is going to be packed into the skin really well. It's going to look amazing.
That's that's that is amazing. And I know that,
Mm.
you know, I remember when I was little and I was trying to be like, I'm the youngest of seven and I have four older sisters, and I was trying so hard to be just like them. And one day my eyebrows were just growing like crazy. I was about, oh, I don't know, maybe 10, 11, and I took a razor and I shaved them to where there was just like this
Oh.
little square. This is a true story. And my mom was like, because I just remember that. I remember the first time I tried to shave my legs. I just wanted to be like my sisters so much. And my mom goes, she was just the sweetest, kindest woman. And she just looked at me and she goes, I want you to know that you'll be lucky if those grow back. And I started crying so hard. I go, Mom, and she said the same thing to me when I shaved my legs. She goes, you now have to shave your legs for the rest of your life because you cannot
Yes.
not once you shave them. And it was so funny. And so when she said that to me, and so they grew back. Everything was fine. I'm never going to pluck them. I'm never going to shave them, whatever. So we get a gas stove, first time in our house. And it was the kind of gas stove it was the kind of gas stove that you had to light with a match because it wasn't, all fancy and everything. I was just so excited. So it's Sunday morning And I thought, what one thing can I cook? Well, it had a broiler. So I turned the gas on and I go, hey, where's the matches? I can't find matches. This is true as well. We're lucky to have a house. So I take the match, I light it. What happens? It does the big woof, just this big explosion. Thank God it was contained. But it burnt my eyebrows. So,
oh my gosh.
I know.
You got bad luck with eyebrows.
Yes. So then they grew back, which she was really worried that they wouldn't. They grew back, but they grew back like a man. Like they were deep down into my eyelids. And so I had to start plucking them. And
have to at that point.
My God, it was terrible. So why do I tell you this? Because now I'm at a point where now they're like a lot. They need to be thicker, but the hair, it's done. It's done. It's all they can do. So I'm not, like drawing on eyebrows. I kind of just brush them through a little bit. But it's such a beautiful framework to your eyes is what I'm getting at. And I've looked at your work and I've seen what can be done, and it is pretty amazing. Were you nervous on your first client?
Oh my gosh. So I'll tell you a story, because I had gotten, like I said, certified in the lashes and the brows basically at the same time at the beginning of the year. So I am like freshly new at this. And I started the lashes right away, started practicing. But when I tell you about these brows, I was terrified. I was so scared because this is permanent. I'm literally going to be tattooing eyebrows on a human being, and what if they don't like it? What if I go too deep?
Yeah.
What if my hand is not steady enough, and what if I color outside the line, because I can't even color?
Oh my gosh,
I'm
that's
like
funny.
freaking out. I'm telling my boyfriend this, and I'm YouTubing everything. I'm watching YouTube videos, and I'm practicing and I'm practicing and I'm practicing, and then I started following this really horrible thing on Facebook. It's called eyebrow shaming, and it's about all of these horribly botched eyebrows. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be like this. And here I am telling my boyfriend, he's like, you got to stop. You got to just stop. You got to just do it. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, how new you've been doing it. You got to get in there. You're going to make mistakes. And, and I've always been very hard on myself. I'm always very hard on myself. I feel like when I do something, I have to do it perfect, and I can't make a mistake. And I constantly, thank goodness I have him telling me, like, you're going to make a mistake. You're a human being. You're not perfect. All you can do is your best. And I kept on hearing that, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I've been watching all these YouTube videos. I've been practicing. I'm certified. I'm like, I know I can do this. So I kind of like forced my best friend into doing it for me.
I was going to say, were the people that you knew were your guinea pigs? It's like,
yeah. And I was like throwing it out there. I'm like, I'll do it for free. Let me just do it. And a lot of people are scared because they're like, this is my face, girl. No, like, how many eyebrows have you done yet? And I'm like, oh, none. But you can be my model. And it wasn't as easy for me. I have a lot of low maintenance friends, so they're really not into makeup and beauty like I am. And like, I suckered my best friend into it. She's not into the lashes, she's not into the eyebrows, but she let me do her lashes for the first time. And she laid on that bed and she's like, friend, just don't mess me up. Please just don't mess me up. And I did it, and I was just like, so proud of myself. I was so nervous. I almost gave up because I was just like, I'm going to ruin her face. I was so scared, but I just kept on praying, like, God, you got me. You got this. Like, you set me up for this. I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for you. I got to just be confident in this. And I did it, and it was good. And she is so so happy with the results. She loves them all the time. She said, you know, she was going through a period in her life where she wasn't really happy, and she was like really depressed and feeling really insecure. And she said, Tyia, this like really boosted my self-esteem. You have no idea. Like, this really changed my look, because her eyebrows were very scarce. She never had any. She always used to make fun of her being bald-headed eyebrow. Like, you know, so
Yeah.
for her to tell me that, like, I drastically changed her look and her confidence, like, that's what gave me that boost. Like, okay, if I could do it one time, I can do it again. And I'm just like so thirsty to just do them over and over and over. I get so excited when somebody books. I get so excited when they're like, I love this shape. And then once it's finished, they're like, oh my God, this is so perfect. Like, I love hearing this, like, to transform somebody's confidence, their look, into something that they truly like. Like, that's so much gratification. It's a beautiful thing if I can do a little, you know, body enhancement to, like, for your confidence. You know, confidence is everything, and sometimes we need that to feel good about ourselves.
Oh, I agree 100%. I put makeup on every single day, whether I'm leaving the house or not. It's just part of
Thanks.
my, it's just part of my DNA. It's just who I am. And it makes
Mm,
me operate better. I just
yeah.
feel better. And when I had three girls under 5 years old, my babies, and I would wake up every morning and I would get ready like I was going to work. And the reason why
Yeah.
is because I didn't want like the UPS, because I back then they didn't just drop stuff at your door. They knocked on your door. They handed you the package. So I'm really, kind of aging myself here. But I didn't want the UPS guy to think what a loser. I wanted to be cute for him. So
Yeah.
I would put my makeup on every day, and I think that we all have, I talked about this the other day on the show, is that, I've had people say, well, how do you know what, because I think we all have a gift. And how do you know what that is? And I know that there's a lot of things that I do well. I love to cook. I love to decor, interior design. I love, in decorating, and there's just those things. But when I finish a written piece, or my book, a poem, or I do a show, there's a feeling whether I think anybody is going to get to read it or not. When I'm finished, I am like, my heart is full. Like, and I'll look back at something that I've done and I went, where did all those words come from? I can't
Mm-hmm.
believe that came out of me. Because I know Bon Jovi said once, he said, if you can't listen to your song 100 times, it isn't good. And if you can't, and so it, I listen to things like that, like this book that is at print. I had to read that out loud so many times because I'm not an editor and I'm a writer. And I had to read it out loud so many times to at least make sure it was intact. That, and it's going to be in print and there's still going to be things wrong with it. I just know it. But I feel so good about it. And for you to be so intimate and be able to touch someone's life in the most important part, no pressure, Tyia, but when you're talking to somebody, they're looking at their eyes. So, you're putting that framework on there. And
Yeah.
when it's really remarkable what you do. It really is. And I think it's amazing, when I found out what you did. By the way, people can find you on Instagram and Facebook. You can message Tyia privately. Tyia, will you give those two links again? Your Facebook and your
Yeah.
Instagram?
Yeah, my Facebook is under my name, Tyia Patchen, and my Instagram is under Lashdoll216. And you can DM me on Instagram, Facebook, and I reply almost immediately.
Excellent. And I'll also include those links. Um, but I'll tell you, for you to be able to do that, for me, if I may, that when you have that feeling when you're done or you see them for their follow up